Pat Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by Underdog. Code Mayo and Underdog, by the way. 2026 Charles Schwab Challenge Picks, Research, and Preview. I am currently away, but I made sure to get out ahead of the fact. The problem is I don't have the official field for Colonial as of yet, but here's what I did find. Let's just go check it out right now. Boom! We have the player field for the commitments and professionals invited. This could always change. So we can try to see some of the bigger names in the field. Ludwig is committed to Colonial as of right now. Again, this can all change. So this is what I'm working with at the moment. Bezadenhout, Michael Brennan, Brian Campbell, Ricky Castillo, Bud Colley, Luke Clanton, Wyndham Clark, Pearson Cootie, Cam Davis, Nico Echeverria. Good course for Nico if he's feeling it that week. Although it's not on Bermuda, that's never great for him. There's Nicky Dunlap, Alex Fitzpatrick, and Tony Finau, both expected to play. Gerard Glover and Ricky Fowler, along with my main man David Ford, expected to be in. Gotterup, defending champ Ben Griffin, Emiliano Grillo, former winner, and Max Grazerman. Henley, Harry Hall. Harry Hall, the first time Harry Hall really had a substantive run was at this tournament a few years ago and gagged it. I don't know if that was the year Davis Riley beat. It may have been the Grillo year it was the Grillo year where he ended up going out. So Russell, this is a really good field versus what we saw a week ago at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Heat Satsuni and Rico Hoey, Rasmus Højgaard and Nikolai Højgaard both in the field. Mason Howell getting an invite. Mark Hubba Hubbard. Sung Jae playing again. It's back-to-back weeks for Sung Jae. He needs to get back into his routine after missing the first part of the year with that wrist injury. Johnny Kiefer, Steven Yager, Michael Kim, Siwoo Kim, Tom Kim, Chris Kirk all playing. Chris Kirk, a former winner of this event like 15 years ago. Kisner and Matt Kuchar both playing. Bobby Mack and Hao Tong along with Max McCarty in the field. Mac Meisner is playing. RMP, Pontus Nyholm, the Swedish dentist, Thorbjorn Olesen, so a contingent of the Scandinavian guys. Potgieter, Aaron Rye playing. Good Aaron Rye course, actually. A lot of accuracy, positional golf being played here. Finau, Adam Schenk, Matty Schmidt, who lost to Ben Griffin in that playoff a year ago, expected to be in the field. Alex Smalley, Smotherman, recent winner, Brant Snedeker in the field, Jordan Smith playing again. So a lot of the players that we just haven't seen for a while because it's only been signature events and majors are all just trying to get as many starts as they can. Thorbjornsson playing again. Captain Phillips, he's the captain now, playing. Shirishan, Yelamaraju in there, Dylon and Kevin, and you both playing. So a lot of guys. This will be the last week at the CJ Cup and this week for the Charles Schwab Challenge are kind of really the deciding tournaments for the Underdog Round 3 Best Ball, because there was two signature events and a major and then another signature event to close it out with these two tournaments in between. I know that as of this recording, I'm doing well, but I don't have a ton of guys in CJ Cup. Fortunately, enough of the bigger names are expected to play at Colonial that we can get away with it and hopefully boost ourselves up a little bit in the standings by not having only 3 guys out of 10 playing. So fingers crossed, get ourselves to the final in all these competitions, try to win some big money. Wouldn't that be nice? So let me tell you a little bit about the course at Colonial for the Charles Schwab Challenge right now. Colonial's a par 70, playing at a shade under 7,300 yards, bent grass green, 6 holes with water, 84 bunkers, 5,000 square foot green. So after weeks and weeks of gigantic putting surfaces, we're back to positional golf where you got to hit some greens in regulation here with some precise irons and wedges. The 2023 renovation included every aspect of the golf course, including all new greens, hydronics installed, new bunkers, irrigation, drainage. Bermuda grass was sodded on 118 acres and greens seeded with bent grass. We got the bent grass greens again. Fairways landing width are between 25 and 30 yards, so those have been shrunk a little bit. Good news for like the underdog players. Code Mayo at underdog if you go under on fairways, although you can go very less than driver at this course if you want to. The average distance of the par 3s is 210 yards. On the par 4s, we're looking at 436 yards, and there's 12 of them. On the course, the par 5s, there are 2 of them. The average distance, 610 yards. They're a little bit trickier than you would say. So as a par 70, you got the extra par 4s to par 4 scoring. is always going to come more into play. The past winners, Ben Griffin at -12 a year ago. Davis Riley outdueled Scottie Scheffler on a Sunday to win at -14. That year that I talked about with Ari O, Emiliano Grillo won at -8. A weather-impacted year, Sam Burns posted a score earlier on in the morning and just passed everyone on the leaderboard when conditions got bad. He won at -9. John Pack was the first round leader here a year ago, 3 clear of the field with an opening round 63. Colonial's hosted, this is the longest running event on the PGA Tour. Ever since May 1946, the world's greatest golfers travel to Fort Worth to compete in the Colonial National Invitational, better known today as the Charles Schwab Challenge. Again, it's a shade under 7,300 yards. The strategy from the tee box will prove to be far more important than in a standard week, because really it's a fake 7,200 yards. The course stacks all of its par threes, all at least 190 yards as mentioned. There's a 3-shot, 365-yard par 5. So it's kind of like Bizarro Riviera in that way. You take out those 5 holes, and the field is left with 9 par 4s measuring less than 445 yards. So regardless of driving distance number, these holes are scoreable for everyone in the field. And of those 9, 7 come in at 430 yards or less, 5 of which play under par. With the classical design, Colonial is still one of the regular PGA Tour courses where all skills appear to have equal opportunity to win. Harbor towns like that, Sawgrass, Sedgefield, Eastlake, Waialae, bombers can compete, the short guys can compete, just who is playing the best that week. Distance always going to have an advantage, but its impact tends to be mitigated at Colonial. Looking at past leaderboards, the top 5 finishers almost exclusively share the trait of gaining a little off the tee, slightly less around the greens, and a lot on approach and putting. That just doesn't materialize at the top of leaderboards. If you think below average size greens and chipping would play a major factor, you don't want to be bad around the greens, but you just got to be hitting greens in regulation. You need to be pin stalking, making birdies on the easy holes so you don't give it back on the more difficult holes. It's worth noting there are very few eagles made at Colonial. Number 1 is really the only plausible eagle hole outside of like a random chance hole out from the bottom of the cup from like 170 away. Even though it's reachable in 2 shots, number 1 still hovers only around a 2% eagle rate historically. So keep that in mind as we're going through. Then you got the horrible horseshoe, holes 3, 4, and 5. Plays about a half stroke over par. Since 2003, the toughest 3 to 5 hole stretch of any non-major venue, played at least 8 times. So that's something that we can look at from Colonial. One of my favorite tournaments of the year, one of the best viewing experiences of the year as well. So we can jump over to Betspertsgolf.com/Mayo to get yourself 25% off and jump in on everything. You got a parkland type course, 84 bunkers as mentioned, very low water danger here. The greens tend to run fast, 13 on the snip, bent grass surfaces, Bermuda grass fairway. Rough isn't all that, off the tee can be very difficult because it is such a placement type and positional type course. Off the tee is going to be less than driver. Hitting the fairways is tough because they're so thin. The rough penalty tends to be high, and the wind can pick up at this course as well. Par 5 scoring is tough. Par 3 scoring is tough. Par 4, pretty average, honestly. You have that run, the horrible horseshoe. You can see it has the first, second, and fourth most difficult holes on the course. Number 3 plays 0.313 strokes over par, 0.17 for that par 3, 247 yards, number 4. And then number 5, the most difficult hole on the course, 24% bogey rate, 5% double or worse rate to only an 8% birdie rate. None of the holes in the horrible horseshoe have over an 11% birdie rate historically. So worth noting from that range. Let's take a look at the average shot distribution. Here, we're looking at the 5-year averages. The average approach distance isn't all that long. You can see it slightly over indexes on shots between 50 to 125 yards, but here's where it really pumps up. 125 to 150, 20% versus 16%. And then you get your longer approaches coming in because of those par 3s, but the total of shots over 200 yards at this course is only 14%, whereas 23% is the average norm in terms of average shot distribution. So it's going to be, where do you want to lay up to? And then working off that, where are you going to hit it to? If you prefer to hit you don't want to be like 70 yards out, you'd rather be 120 because you could put more spin on the ball that way. That's where the field is going to try to lay itself up to. So we take a look at back last year, and just take a look at some of the totals, take a look at some of the ranks. Putting really did strike a chord here, where you have 1 and 3. Schmidt and Ben Griffin just made all of their putts. Ben Griffin overall for the week was 4th tee to green as well. No one inside the top 10 except for Bobby Mack was worse than T34 in terms of, he was T34 tee to green. Everyone else, no one was worse than T26. That was Matty Schmidt, but he led in putting, so that's okay. Other guys, Griffin was 4th, Scottie was 1st, came in 4th, Bud Culley was 17th, came in 3rd, Fleetwood was 5th tee to green, came in 4th, Harry Hall was 15th tee to green, and came in 6th. Somehow he dropped an incredible amount of strokes around the green. You don't see that happen all that often. Potgieter, Spawn. Funny, Potgieter ends up going on to win in Detroit later on. Spawn ends up going to win the U.S. Open. Bobby Mack ends up coming 2nd at the U.S. Open. Interesting stuff here from a lot of the guys at this tournament, and they ended up playing well. From the back half of Fleetwood ends up winning the Tour Championship, so play Colonial. Things might go well for you. You see Phillips, Gary Woodland, Nick Hardy all up there as well. If we just sort by pure tee to green from that week, Scheffler, Novak, Spawn, Griffin, and Fleetwood. Goddard just lost everything putting. Meisner lost everything putting. No shocker there. Michael Kim was 16th. Did not putt well for that week, but was 11th tee to green. It's a very good Michael Kim course, actually. You'd think that he would have hit his approaches a little bit better, but he was just driving it. He was unstoppable with his driving. We'll see how Davis Riley got there. The year before that, Davis Riley was 1st tee to green, despite being... See, this is what I meant earlier about guys around the green where it doesn't matter all that much. Davis Riley was 1st tee to green, was 62nd in strokes gained around the green, just because he hit all the greens of regulation. Riley, Scheffler, Keegan Bradley, Morikawa, Mac Miser, Seb Straka. One thing you will notice, you have your 1 or 2 outlier guys, but the rest of the top 10 is usually the guys you think are going to be in the top 10. And with Russell Henley should do pretty well this week, I would guess, because he's just going to be one of those guys. Short hitting, very accurate, very good with his wedges, and can roll it. Less so on bent than the other surfaces, but we'll see how it ends up going. Scheffler taking an absence really does make it a bit more wide open this year. Although he's never won this event, he just kind of looms every single year. As you saw, he was 2nd 2 years ago. He was 4th the year before that, and he was 2nd to Sam Burns. Lost in the playoff to Sam Burns? Yeah, he lost in the playoff to Sam Burns the year before that. The year that Kokrak, I think, beat Spieth. I had Kokrak that year. That was very nice. So yeah, Kokrak beat Spieth, shot even par in the final round. That was great. What a clinic from Jason Kokrak. Just basically the only week that he ever putted ever. It's been a very good tournament for me, honestly, betting. Not every single year, but I hit Kevin Na here, I hit Berger here, I hit Jason Kokrak. So maybe it was 3 really good years for me at this tournament. I haven't hit a winner since. A lot of people hit Griot the year that he won, and Scottie Scheffler came in 3rd. Adam Schenk was in the playoff with Emiliano Griot that year. That was the year that Harry Hall should have won, but shot 3 over in the final round. You can see Harry Hall was the only guy. The next guy to shoot over par were Streelman and Rye. With the warm months approaching, I'd rather spend my time planning a vacation than stressing about whether I can afford to do it or not. So I've been getting my finances organized now instead of waiting until the damage is done. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings, goals, and spending. Get your first year of Monarch Core for half off, just $50 with promo code PATMAYO. What I like about Monarch is it catches stuff before it becomes a problem. The AI recap flagged a spending spike for me, and the cash flow tool showed exactly where my money was disappearing every single month. Now, should I have known that when I was spending the money? Probably, but hey, when you're spending money, sometimes you forget things. Use code PATMAYO at monarch.com to get your first year of Monarch Core half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code PATMAYO. Let's talk about something no one in endurance sports likes to admit. You can be training your ass off. Cardio, stress, not recovering properly, and yeah, it can mess with your performance everywhere. Because it all comes back to blood flow. Most guys jump straight to pills. That's just treating the symptom. The real key is nitric oxide. That's what controls circulation, endurance, and yeah, performance. That's why Joy Mode actually makes sense. It's a natural booster that supports nitric oxide production, not the fake pixie dust stuff. Just tear open a packet, mix it like an electrolyte drink, and you are good to go. Use it when you need it, or use it daily to raise your baseline. Think of it like training. One dose helps, consistency changes everything. If you want to support sexual performance the same way you support training and recovery, naturally and intelligently, Joy Mode has a deal for my listeners. go to tryjoymode.com/Mayo or enter Mayo at checkout for 20% off. Joy Mode, the electrolyte packet for your dick. Obviously, I don't have the full field. Obviously, it's not loaded in because I'm doing this so far in advance. Hopefully, my rounds of the Black Desert are going well right now. Root me on as I'm trying to do it. This is my last day. The day this show comes out is the last day that I'm there playing full-time golf. Actually, no, I'm playing on the Monday as well. If you're looking for the Jeff and I show this week, it's going to be on Wednesday when I return. So we'll go to Active Golfers, try to build something out. I wonder if I have one here from last year. If I just go into Create Model, do I have a Colonial from last year? No. Open Championship in 3M and when I started making rabbit hole models a year ago, according to this. So just very briefly, what I'm going to do to throw in, I'm going to go to my model. I'm going to delete everything that's in there from the CJ Cup, which I recorded like 20 minutes before recording this show, and just try to get a sense of guys that might pop up a little bit at this course. We want approach. So we're going to go just past 6 months. We'll even shrink that. It's hard to shrink this size because this field, this is one of the problems I incurred with the CJ Cup trying to do is where there's been so few regular PGA events that some of these guys just haven't played a lot of rounds recently. So we'll go past 6 months and go off of it that way. So we'll go SG approach. That says AG approach, SG approach for this field. We'll add that in and we're going to throw putting into this mix, but we'll go past 18 months putting. Here's what we'll do. We'll go short-term putting, 6 months. That's short-ish term to me. And we'll throw putting into that mix. Okay. So we'll throw putting in there, and we'll go strokes gained putting, SG putt overall. But the other thing that we're going to look at is go past 2 years, and we'll take a look at bent grass putting only for the field. So we'll filter by conditions. We'll type in bent grass. There's bent. We'll put in putting surfaces. Boom. We're going to click it to apply. Since I'm using only all active golfers with a lot of guys who aren't even in this field, we'll have to take a little bit of a look at this. So interesting to see. Cootie, McIntyre, Harris English. I don't think Harris English was in that field. Horschel's in the field, though. So is Vince Whaley. Ari O is going to be playing. Matt Hughes is going to be playing in the field this week for Colonial. So is Matty Schmidt, very good on bent grass putting. Should have really looked at this more for Aronimink, because there's Matty Schmidt, and he putted the lights out, and that was on bent grass. We just haven't seen a lot of bent grass this year, so SG, putt, bent. Get bent, pal. The other thing that we're going to take a look at is we reset the filters. We're going to go switch that off of bent, and we're going to go mixed and less than driver off the tee, and difficult to, where's fairways? Fairways to hit, fairway surface, fairway accuracy, average to difficult. And we're going to apply that, and we're going to keep our range of the past 2 years, and then we're going to go to strokes gained off the tee, and we're going to sort by strokes gained off the tee. And Rory, Bryson, guys that aren't playing in this field. Chris Goddard, Jesper Svensson is another one we take into consideration. Take driver out of the hand of some guys, SG off the tee. Not that this is going to be weighted a bunch because we saw that that's not exactly where you want to be. There's SG off the tee. We're going to add that in. The other part that we're going to look at, we're going to reset filters. Don't want to get these stuck around here. Reset the filters. And we're going to go back to past 6 months again. So now we're drawing from less data when we take a look at every single golfer who's currently active on the PGA Tour and on LIV. Don't forget LIV as we go into it. And we're going to go to those bucket approach range. So scoring opportunities on approaches. This is what we're looking for here. And hopefully you can hit your long irons well enough, make enough putts on those holes to really figure it out. So some guys just don't have any shots at all. So here we're going to go minimum rounds of 8 rounds at least this year and try to get a sense of, we saw the over index of 100 to 150, and we're going to go inside 10 feet for this to see if that, most guys that are good from hitting it to inside 10 feet are also good at hitting it inside 5 feet, inside 150 feet. So scoring 100 to 150. We'll throw that in, and we'll also throw in 150 to 175 as well, just with a lot of these shorter holes. Even on the longer ones, this is where you can find yourself. We'll go to inside 15 feet for that one. Rory is the best from that range, 151 to 175. Throw that in over the past 6 months of your wedge shots. And even, hell, for most of these guys, 160 is a wedge shot. It's like a gap wedge or something for them. So wedge range, very big here. And the other thing that we'll go with is the par 4 efficiency, the 400 to 450 range. So far this season, Ben Coles, Ricky Fowler, let's see who else is playing here, Siwoo, Henley, Alex Fitzpatrick, Robert McIntyre, all guys that are playing in the field at Colonial. So we'll throw this in. And I'm going to save this under the expert model. So once the actual field is released, when you go to betspertsgolf.com, you will be able to pull this one up as we go create it right now. So what we can do with approach, we'll keep approach at 10% because we have the different like proximity ranges. Hell, we can even go like 15 on approach in general, and then we'll go 10 and 10 with those key scoring ranges, put 15 into the key par 4 range. Putting will go 10 and 10, and then off the tee, where we saw it didn't mean as much, doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. We'll throw in 15% with that. So we still have a bit more that we can throw into this mix because we have 15% to still distribute. Call that 20% for approach. Call the short-term putting 10%, and we'll ramp up that key par 4 range, just to give us a sense. So we'll call this early Mayo Show model. And we'll save the expert report, and we'll generate this. Obviously, it's going to give us guys that aren't in the field for right now. When the entire field comes out and is loaded in the system, it'll only give you those guys. So that's interesting to know. Did I say that Ricky was playing? Is Fowler playing? Yeah, Fowler is in the field for Colonial. So he would actually be number 1 on this list and has, most of the great guys in the field. So Henley, Fowler, Matt McCarty, Woodland are all in that key range. Akshay is not playing. Austin Eckroat is probably going to play. No word yet on Jake Knapp's injury. He's probably going to sit this one out as well. Straka, I think, said he was in the field. Did I say Straka? No Seb Straka. No Seb Straka in the field for Colonial as of right now. Yella Miraju's there. There is Siwoo Kim, Robert McIntyre, Alex Smalley, Sam Stevens, Ryan Gerard. This should be a really good Gerard course if he could ever putt, but you never know when he's ever going to putt, so that becomes somewhat problematic. Apologies that I'm not around, but I wanted to make sure that you had a good sense of how this course is going to play, any of the updates, and we do have enough of the field to figure it out. If you want to run the model, betspertsgolf.com/Mayo to go do that, all right? Smash the like while you're here. I'm going to enjoy my time away playing golf. You enjoy your weekend. Hit some winners, all right? Make some putts and hit some winners. You get double down on that. That's the best parlay in the biz right there. Hit some winners while you're betting on golf, hit some putts on the course, maybe even some nice drives along with it. Wouldn't that be nice, all right? That was the Charles Schwab Challenge. I'm Pat Mayo. We'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!